Today on Verbal to Visual, we're going to look at two ends of the spectrum of what sketchnoting is all about. Let's start with the philosophical side. I'd like to riff on an idea that was shared in a popular TED Talk given by Elizabeth Gilbert.
For the first time in history, you start to hear people referring to this or that artist as being a genius rather than having a genius. And I gotta tell you, I think that was a huge error.
So the idea then is that you have a creative genius inside of you. And I believe that for many, if not most of you, sketchnoting can help you give that genius a voice. Sketchnoting can capture your complex thoughts and ideas in ways that speaking and writing alone cannot. The drawings and the diagrams alongside meaningful text gives your genius an outlet that it didn't have before. You're therefore equipping your genius with a new language that will allow it to communicate in a fuller way. That's true whether you're capturing your own ideas or interpreting the ideas of others as you incorporate them into your view of the world. Now, it's important to note that sketchnoting isn't the only language that your genius might speak. It could be music, or poetry, or prose, or pure illustration. But if you're excited about the idea of sketchnoting, then chances are, so too is your genius. What your task becomes then, on the practical side of this spectrum, is developing the language of sketchnoting to a degree that allows your genius to say what it wants to say. That's why it's worth it to practice your drawing skills and build up a visual vocabulary. That's why it's worth it to experiment with different ways of approaching how you lay out ideas on the page until you find a good flow. And that's why it's worth it to develop deep listening skills that open you up to more than what's just on the surface. Those are the things that your genius needs. I often say that for me, sketchnoting was my gateway into creativity. It's what opened me up to living a more creative life and building a creative career. I think that it's equally fair to say that sketchnoting, among other outlets, has given the genius inside of me a voice. I plan to keep doing what I can to give that voice what it needs to speak its truth, and I encourage you to do the same. To explore in more depth the role that sketchnoting can play in the life of your creative genius, check out the resources at verbaltovisual.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.